This is the story of Satoru Gojo's failure, an event that shook the foundation of the Jujutsu world that led to catastrophic consequences for the very citizens he swore to protect. On October 31st, in the heart of Shibuya, at 7 p.m., an enormous curtain materializes with a radius of 400 meters, trapping thousands of civilians inside. Along the curtain's edges, a majority of people beg for one thing: bring Satoru Gojo. By 8:31 p.m., Satoru Gojo makes his entrance, stepping into the curtain and heading straight into the Shibuya Hikari building. As he moves through the crowd, Satoru suspects that the barrier originates from beneath the basement first floor, B1F, where he entered. He navigates to an atrium that guides him to the Fukustoshi line platform below. Hovering above the opening, Satoru realizes what his enemies are after. He embraces the impeding battle and descends to B5F to the Fukustoshi line platform. Standing with Hanmi and Choso, Jogo grins upon seeing Satoru has finally arrived. Satoru reciprocates the sentiment with a smile as he lands, ready to face Jogo and his allies. They stand poised on the train tracks, awaiting his arrival. Satoru advises Jogo not to offer any excuses when he inevitably loses. Jogo responds with amusement, remarking that Satoru should prepare for his own excuse for the first time. Hanami's roots seal off the atrium above Satoru, as well as the staircase descending to the platform. Satoru asserts his determination to stay, recognizing that leaving would lead to the civilians' deaths at the hand of curses. Suddenly, the civilians are forcefully pushed onto the tracks. Observing the dire situation, Satoru realizes that destroying the roots could harm innocents on the other side. As the stage is set for their assault, the trio of curses initiate a ruthless onslaught, employing Jujutsu against a defenseless crowd. Choso activates his blood manipulation technique, employing slicing exorcism to carve through the sea of civilians. The blood attacks ruthlessly, yet it falters against Satoru's infinity. Hanami and Jogo move with swiftness, attempting a coordinated assault. Their strikes, fortified with curse energy, are aimed at breaking through Satoru's defenses. Infinity halts their advances, but Satoru senses an anomaly. Jogo grins as both curses amplify their energy, triggering domain amplification. Similar to the simple domain amplification can nullify any technique that touches the user's curse energy coding. Through this tactic, the curses aim to breach Satoru's defenses and render him vulnerable to their attacks. This strategy and curse technique were provided by Geto, along with a plan to counter Satoru's limitless techniques. By flooding the area with non-sorcerers, not only did they constrain Gojo's movements, but they also limit his offensive options. In this scenario, Gojo is forced into a defensive stance. The curses aim to stall him for at least 20 minutes until Geto is ready with Prison Realm. Satoru sidesteps Jogo and Hanami's synchronized domain amplification assault, evading the ensuing explosion. Jogo taunts Gojo and reminds him that he's not allowed to run away. Deciding to get serious, Satoru removes his blindfold to unveil his six eyes and adds that he was just surprised his foolish opponents believed he could win using his sorry excuse for a brain. Having escaped Satoru's grasp twice before, he openly announces he'll be targeting Hanami first. Intimidated, Jogo and Hanami both stand silently in place for a moment. Satoru tells them to come on and fight, stepping up closely in between them and openly challenging their rule to not run away. Jogo attempts to throw an uppercut while Hanami attacks from behind again. Satoru parries Jogo's punch and twists his wrist with physical martial arts using both his hands. Jogo is surprised he touched, but the thought was swiftly interrupted. Satoru drags Jogo down to avoid Hanami's kick from behind and then slips his left leg over Jogo's shoulder. Using a mounted armbar, Satoru rips Jogo's arm clean off and blocks Hanami's follow-up strike with the severed appendage. Jogo immediately flees once he has the chance, and Satoru stays in hot pursuit. Hanami watches from behind Satoru and analyzes the situation. She realizes that Satoru deactivated the Limitless and likely plans to fight at close quarters. Without a reason to get the crowd involved, Hanami decides her best course of action is to use her curse technique, but this turns out to be a fatal mistake. Jogo turns around to yell at Hanami. He tells her to not deactivate domain amplification, but it's too late, with his trap being executed flawlessly. Gojo looks back at Hanami as well, expressing a crazed grin. The sorcerer blitzes Hanami, instantly appearing on Hanami's body. He grabs the tree branches growing out of the curse's face, which he learned were Hanami's weak points. He doesn't hesitate to rip them out of Hanami's body completely, and does so in brutal fashion, stomping on Hanami's chin as he violently pulls the roots from the curse's face. Jogo continues to flee, further terrified by the fact Satoru can still exercise them without the Limitless, speaking to his unlimited talent. Choso tries to strike with blood manipulation from a distance, but Satoru automatically reactivates the Infinity to block it. Hanami and Jogo act quickly to ambush amplification reinforced punches from the front and back again, but Gojo is more than prepared this time. He calls out their repeated tactic and reminds Jogo that the Infinity can be strengthened to counter their amplification. With Hanami in a massively weakened state, the sorcerer is willing to bet the curse can't withstand another attack up close. Surprised by Satoru's threats, Jogo tries tries to get his attention by threatening the lives of more non-sorcerers. However, Gojo completely ignores him and focuses on expanding the Infinity into a large barrier that crushes Hanmi against the wall. With a devious grin, Gojo relentlessly increases his technique until Hanmi's shell not only cracks but violently explodes. Nothing is left but the dust and blood lining the imprint left in the subway wall from the impact. With Hanmi eradicated, Satoru turns his grace towards Jogo, simply stating, "Next." Desperate and evading pursuit, Jogo tries blending into the masses and implores Choso for assistance, threatening him. With a calm demeanor, Choso complies and launches blood-infused projectiles from a distance. Satoru swiftly reactivates the Infinity, blocking the attack. Suddenly, a subway train drives into the Fukutoshi Line platform and stops. Inside is a train full of transfigured humans that are immediately led outside to massacre the crowd led by Mahito. Witnessing the horrific scene, Gojo was filled with dread as the wave of transfigured humans assaults the few remaining survivors on B5F. Mahito takes to the air, riding atop a serpent-like transfigured being. With force, he launches himself towards Satoru, throwing a punch that Infinity halts. Mahito, amused, concedes his inability to strike his adversary. He wags his finger and shares something he finds gross about humans. There's so many of them. The atrium, previously blocked by Hanami's route, suddenly opens. Hundreds of even more people plummet onto the platform tracks. Gojo realizes that there are curses or curse users on the upper basement floors funneling humans down to this area. Mahito and Choso prepare for a combined assault, harnessing their curse techniques. Choso employs convergence, solidifying the blood suspended in the air, while Mahito merges two transfigured souls using soul multiplicity. Simultaneously, Choso initiates supernova and Mahito activates blood repel, triggering a chaos vortex of destruction as bodies cascade and disintegrate around Satoru. From above, Jogo swoops down toward the sorcerer, launching a downward punch. Infinity disrupts the trajectory, and Satoru seizes Jogo's arm. However, Jogo severs his own limb to vanish back into the crowd. Gojo momentarily hesitates, but in the next instant, he astounds everyone. His eyes snap open, and he activates the Unlimited Void, a fleeting domain expansion lasting just 0.2 seconds. Gojo makes an educated guess that ordinary humans can endure his domain for only a brief period before enduring lasting effects. By reducing the Unlimited Void to this span, the curses could awaken from their suspended state at any time. Hence, Satoru's focus shifts to eradicating the transfigured humans within the immobile crowd. With astonishing swiftness, Gojo tears apart nearly 1,000 transfigured humans using his bare hands. This ferocious act unfolds in the aftermath of his domain deactivation. Each transfigured victim dismantled in less than 300 seconds. Just as he completes the task, a small talisman-bound cube appears suddenly before him. Geto's voice instructs the activation of Prism Realm, a living barrier capable of sealing anything, even Satoru Gojo. The Prism Realm materializes, morphing into a grotesque mask with a solitary eye that meets the gaze of Satoru's six eyes. Uncertain of this mysterious curse, Gojo swiftly pivots and attempts to flee. He only stops when he hears the greeting of his long-thought-to-be dead best friend, Suguru Geto. He turns back to see Geto, someone he had personally eliminated a year prior. Confused, Gojo's mind is flooded with memories of his closest friend. Yet, the Six Eyes reject any possibility of an imposter. Although it was just an instant, the time required to seal Satoru Gojo was complete. The Prism Realm captures Satoru, rendering him immobile and cutting off all connection to his body's curse energy. In that instant, Gojo realizes his enemies have got him now, and this is checkmate for the battle. The shocking truth behind Gojo's unexpected failure would forever alter the course of Japan's fate. To learn more about the Shibuya incident, click right here.